We have to go to a greater level of awareness, a greater level of consciousness, and create and invent and figure out new ways to connect and figure out new ways to influence the Earth's field and create new ways to change outcomes in reality. And it's not about one person doing it. It's a new consciousness that must emerge that isn't going to live in fear. Because what we fear, we give power to, we give our attention to. That we don't live as victims to our circumstances, that we create different circumstances. That if you face this present challenge as an opportunity for a greater consciousness to emerge, a collective consciousness that sees behind the illusion of separation, that could connect in a field of information and create one mind, create one heart, and emerge like those birds that all fly in one pattern, fish in one school. You get the appearance that it's a bigger organism because there's no leader in that flock. There's no leader in that school. Everybody's leading. Everybody is demonstrating it. And that's, we have to step up beyond it. And information is causing us to see that maybe governments aren't going to take care of us. Maybe churches are not going to take care of us, or synagogues, or maybe, medicine is not going to take care of us. And maybe all of those things that we've relied on to change our inner state is not going to really, we're not going to really take care of us. At a certain point, we got to take care of us, right?
Dang.
And
preach it, Dr. Joe, preach it.
No, we got to face this. There's no other alternative.
Yeah.
There isn't another alternative except waiting instead of creating. So maybe it's a time in history that you and I negotiated to be here in some other space and time, and that we're here for an awakening. Let's see what happens if we play that out. And you can't be afraid, and you can't be angry, and you can't be hostile, and you can't be resentful.
Turns out when you do that and you start changing your brainwaves slow down into alpha and theta. You're suppressing the memory bank of the known self that keeps you plugged into three-dimensional reality. When you quiet down this mechanism, now all of a sudden you start connecting to that field. And when you can stay conscious in those subconscious realms, when you can literally regulate and change brainwaves, now you're in the operating system where you can make those significant changes. So we now know that when people apply the formula and they do that properly, now they're walking through that door where they're ready to create from. In other words, you can't create from the known. You can't create with your body. That's matter trying to change matter. And you can do it, it's just going to take a long time. Right. But when you create from the field instead of from matter, there's a whole different set of dynamics that takes place. And why not push that envelope to see, okay, if we've done this, is it possible to do this? As an example, we do these wonderful healing circles where you see these dramatic instantaneous changes. So the person who's healed themselves of some health condition, when it comes time to heal somebody else, they're going to say, well, now I understand the science, I understand how this all works, I know how to get beyond myself, I know how to open my heart. They start piecing it all together. Let's take the formula to the next level. Now they witness a significant change in a person's body in real time, right there. So then the next question is, okay, like this happened many times. As an example, the woman who was at the event in Mallorca, Spain, her brother had a massive stroke in Colombia, and she went back to Colombia, and he was in a coma for 2 weeks. She called up the healing circle and said, hey, can we do a healing on my brother? Now, if you're playing by the rules of Newtonian physics, three-dimensional reality, you're going to say, well, you need to be in front of the guy in order to heal him. But if you understand there's no separation in the quantum, that everything's connected when you're in that place, so wouldn't that be the next application of the formula? So they go over the science, they get it. Okay, we just need a picture of him, and that's our coordinate. And if we're in the field,
sending a frequency to that coordinate.
Yeah, but you're not sending it anywhere because there's nowhere to send. There's no space and time there. You're connecting to it, exactly. That's a great way to say it. In 1 hour after that coherence healing, he comes back to consciousness.
Wow.
Now, that's the extension of where we're going. You see, now we're progressing. A woman who was in one coherence healing group was a pediatric nurse in Children's Hospital in Seattle, and again witnessed the amazing miracle after our event in Toronto. She comes back and there's a little, they call them friends, there's a little guy failing. Doctors hit him with the paddles, they use all the drugs to bring him back, and they walk out of the room and they say, we lost him. She walks over, puts her hands right in the field, and this kid comes right back online. Wow. Doctors are like, what was that? We have the evidence. We can say, oh, watch this person's brain. And scientists are studying our work. I'll say, oh, watch, she's going to pop in a few minutes. What do you mean? Just watch, she's going to pop. And all of a sudden, this person goes into an arousal. The sympathetic nervous system is so switched on, but the arousal isn't like an arousal that from the environment that produces anger, or aggression, or fear, or anxiety, or pain, or suffering. That's survival in the environment that produces the arousal. This arousal is coming from energy in the body that's moving up into the brain, and the arousal is bliss. Mm-hmm. The arousal is ecstasy. The arousal is
freedom.
Oof, yeah. But it's not chemical. It's you'll feel it in every single cell in your body. Now here's the outcome of that. The outcome of that is that when you open your eyes and some conditioning, some layer has been removed, your spectrum of the way the world looks broadens now, because now you're wired to perceive what's always existed, but you didn't have the circuits in place to perceive them. So then it's the inner experience that literally transforms our experience of the outer world. And so when you start having moments where you hit that kind of frequency, or you have those moments of love, you're less dependent on anyone to bring you happiness. Yeah. You're okay. You can love the person for their flaws, because you can see a part of yourself you used to be that you no longer are. And instead of judgment, you have compassion, and you can encourage and communicate from a level of connection instead of intimidation or competition, or however relationships work. So I do think that it's energy and vibration, and I think that in our community, at least, people who have relationships that are built from our community tend to be more long-lasting, because they're more self-aware. Yeah. And so there's no blame, there's no excuses, there's no make wrong, there's no competition, there's none of that. There's just, this is who I am, you know. And I think that the ultimate goal is when you reach the point in your life when how you appear to the world is who you really are. That level of transparency it takes no effort. Right. You can be yourself, and you know, people say to me, wow, you're pretty approachable. And I say, well, God, I work so hard every day on overcoming myself in the morning, overcoming my ego. Yeah. Why would I want to build it up the next day? Because I got to face that guy again tomorrow morning. So why not just keep, you know, taking those edges and smoothing them down, so that you're less unconscious to all of those programs that are built in relationships.
Now my outer world is not controlling my inner world. My inner world now is functioning independent of what's going on in my outer world. And now
you're manifesting. You're manifesting.
Now you got it. Now you're in a creative state.
People are coming to you. Yes.
Right, exactly. Now you're a magnet. Now you have a field, right? And you have energy to heal. And our research shows that that field around your body will actually expand. You radiate more light and information. Cells are getting new information that are causing light to be exchanged between cells and information. Now the body's getting an upgrade. So that immunoglobulin A in 4 days went up 50%. So now we know that if it's going up 50%, that then the immune system was getting a new signal. And nitric oxide then causes another chemical to activate the arteries in your heart to swell. And now, just like when energy moves into your sexual organs and it swells with blood and you have energy there, the same intensity it moves into your heart. And now the heart is activated, and what do you feel? You feel an incredible amount of love. Yeah, and love. You feel whole. And now the more whole you feel, our research shows, then the less separate you feel from the things you want in your life, because you feel like you already have them. You only want things when you're in lack, but when you feel whole, then it feels like it's already happened. And that tends to be the exact emotion that causes those synchronicities and serendipities and coincidences to happen in our life. And you say to a person, what are you doing? And they're saying, I'm not doing anything. I'm just so
loving
happy.
Life. I'm being myself.
Right. I'm free from the past. I'm free from my story of the past. In fact, I'm more connected to the energy of my future
than I am to the energy of my past. I'm believing in my future more than I'm believing in my past. In fact, I'm more in love with my future than I am with my past.